The foundation stone of the Bolova branch of the Bank of Central African States, BEAC, is laid by Prime Minister Joseph John Goethe today. The structure will ease cross-border economic and financial deals in the CEMAC sub-region. The presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest regions, a spin-off of the major national dialogue, highlights of the projects and funders to rebuild both regions in this newscast. A seasoned, rigorous and assiduous soldier of the second section of Cameroon's military, Major General Simon-Pierre Dagafunangsu, dies at the age of 76 in Yaoundé. The 730 News pays homage to the fallen soldier after decades of service. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Those were the headlines of the 730 News.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Welcome back. The foundation stone for the construction of a branch of the Bank of Central African States, BEAC, in Bolova has been laid. Prime Minister Joseph John Goethe pioneered the construction project today, which represents a synergy in the economic exchange in the Central African sub-region. Christian Cheatham reports on the ceremony, highly attended by state dignitaries and the economic community.
One simple gesture by Prime Minister Joseph John Goethe and a brand new perspective for the entire South region. The laying of the foundation stone opens the way for the construction of a BEAC branch in Bolova, which is programmed to take 24 months. Custodians of the tradition are happy with the act. So too are the population of the South region. The Bolova City Mayor, Daniel Ejo, has saluted the choice of his town for the agency and has pleaded that the project be executed within the time frame. The governor of BEAC, Abbas Mahamad Toli, says the choice of Bolova has been influenced by the dynamism of its microfinance sector, its growing tertiary sector, and her strategic location in proximity to Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea. Prime Minister Joseph John Goethe, in his keynote address, said the bank represents the determination of President Paul Biya and heads of state of CEMAC to provide modern infrastructures for BEAC and bring the institution closer to economic hotspots in the sub-region. He said the project also falls in line with government's policy for infrastructural development, which has already seen the South region benefit from roads, hydroelectric dams, a slaughterhouse, hotels, and other facilities. The BEAC regional branch, which is expected to be erected in Bolova within the next 24 months, is a 3-story structure which contains offices, meeting halls, a library, computer and accounting departments, and an annex building.
The BEAC branch, which will be domiciled in Bolova, will reinforce and facilitate financial transactions between CEMAC countries. Bolova shares boundaries with Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Congo, and with the structure implanted, cross-border business deals will be eased, while the host community will be exposed to job offers. Pontanios Lawang presents the importance of the BEAC branch in the South Regional Headquarters.
Bolova is indisputably the biggest town between Yaoundé and Libreville, Gabon, or Malabo in the Equatorial Guinea. It is the headquarters of a region that shares boundaries with 3 other countries of the Central African sub-region, namely Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Congo. The creation of a branch of the Bank of Central African States, BEAC, in Bolova has therefore been considered by various stakeholders as a giant step in the right direction.
With the presence of this agency here, that will ease the work of economic operators. The advent of BEAC here will boost the local economy.
The strategic position of Bolova certainly justifies the choice, and the city mayor, Dr. Daniel Ejo, says in the creation of a BEAC branch, brighter days ahead for the South regional capital.
These are an additional equipment, actually, to confirm that Bolova has capabilities and facilities to receive business people coming all over the world.
The BEAC agency comes to add to the consulate of the Equatorial Guinea as structures that have a sub-regional dimension in Ebolova.
The BEAC agency will reinforce the economic link between Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea. It will facilitate financial transactions.
The population of Ebolova is waiting impatiently to see the three-story structure that will act as a life changer for many, and the Chadian firm in charge of construction work has been given 24 months to deliver the goods.
Away from that lofty sub-regional project, it's been a year since the major national dialogue was chartered for the peaceful resolution of the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. A reconstruction and development plan for both regions was later designed, and the authorities charged with its implementation have been meeting with the population to work on its applicability. Beatrice Lawsama looks at some of the reconstruction projects and the funders.
The need to rebuild the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions stands out as a pressing one in the peace process. Livelihoods crumbled, infrastructure destroyed, the population losing not only property and documents, is also deprived of its dignity due to a 4-year deadly crisis.
The return to peace in the two regions is centered around a certain number of building blocks, amongst which is reconstruction and development. The other building blocks are the humanitarian assistance. The other block is the peace-building efforts in themselves.
Going by the reconstruction plan, the pieces will be put back together in 3 blocks, the recovery phase being the first of them.
The objective of recovery is to restore livelihoods, is to restore the dignity of the people, is to rebuild the environment such that it provides to the citizens of the two regions what it takes.
Time during which they will have no fiscal obligations. Amongst the duties are those dealing with patents and those related to the purchase of goods and services. Real estate, which has to do with the execution of the project, is equally concerned, as well as land ownership. These target the installation phase. For 7 years during their functioning, potential investors will be exempt from the business license tax, company tax, minimum collection, and a waiver from taxes and contributions on salaries paid to workers. The benefits are for both old and new companies. However, the exemptions will apply only to profits in case of new investments from already established businesses. While the government is at work, economic operators, for their part, will have to ensure that their projects lead to job creation and that, as much as possible, the raw material needed for the activities are obtained from the areas in question. The creation of a conducive scene for business to reboot economic activity is the purpose behind the move.
Development news. The Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Jumesi, has been holding talks with the finance verificator of the Morada-Banga-Kusiri Road under construction in the Far North region. Jean-Claude Kwato in the meeting outlined the need for the financing schedule to be followed strictly in order to respect the stipulated deadlines for the completion of the project. Meantime, the Minister of Public Works also made an evaluation of a building which will host the departments of his ministry. He toured the construction site today. In other news, the practice of bilingualism is under sharp review in an exchange between the Canadian High Commissioner to Cameroon and the chairperson of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, His Excellency Richard Bale, and Peter Mafani Musonge, during an exchange, discussed the progress made after the promulgation of the law on the promotion of the 2 official languages in Cameroon. Here's an excerpt of the Canadian High Commissioner.
The Commission visited Canada in June of 2019, so it was, in addition to being an introductory meeting for me, it was a follow-up discussion on that mission. Since that time, the law on bilingualism has been passed, and so the Commission has proceeded with its work. I was certainly interested to understand more about the objectives of the Commission and its achievements to date. And the Commission was, well, we're always interested in talking about if Canada can provide any further assistance.
Now on to echoes of post-electoral litigations at the administrative bench of the Supreme Court. After Kumba and Makenene, the Marawan Council will have a rerun of municipal election. The verdict was given today by the presiding judges. Other decisions taken include the confirmation of the judgment of the Administrative Court of Bafoussam, which ruled in favor of the Social Democratic Front. Sidone Jopmani reports on today's proceedings.
The administrative bench of the Supreme Court has passed its judgment regarding the election of council executive in Marawan. They have ordered the rerun of elections in the Marawan Council. The members of the higher jurisdiction have also confirmed elections in Bafoussam 1 in favor of the Social Democratic Front.
At Bafoussam Premier, the Social Democratic Front has won elections. The result has been confirmed by the Supreme Court.
Among the verdict pronounced so far, the result of elections in the Lagdo constituency confirmed the Front for the National Salvation of Cameroon as winner.
We are ready to accept all decisions taken by the Supreme Court.
Political leaders who submitted petitions for the municipal litigations are unanimous that the verdict made by the administrative bench have to be respected.
We lost in some places and we win in some other place. That is a sign of vitality of our democracy and the role of our justice in our country.
More than 100 files out of 109 have been examined so far. Hearings are ongoing and more verdicts are still expected.
Still in politics, the People's Movement for Dialogue and Reconciliation, MPDR, supports a peaceful political transition in Cameroon. The party's stance was unveiled by the national president, Professor Shanda Tomne, at the press briefing today, in the course of which he invited other political outfits to join his vision of dialogue and reconstruction. Here are clips of what he told reporters today.
Le MPDR déplore une fois de plus.
Once again, the MPDR deplores the open intentions of some opinion leaders, political parties and media organs to maintain tension in the country at all costs and using every means. The 22nd of September was a day that the serenity of the population was unacceptably perturbed in some towns, despite warnings by the government.
Cela en dépit des multiples mises en garde du gouvernement de la République.
Now on to our special reports on the back-to-school preparation. We'll make a stop on the two-shift system prescribed by education ministers to reduce the possibility of the coronavirus infections in this school milieu. The fact that not more than 50 pupils are authorized in each class has prompted some school authorities to begin making adjustments if the enrollments surpass their target. Beatrice Ngum reports that in some primary and secondary schools, tentative timetables have been drafted.
A tete-a-tete between the principal of Lycée Leclerc and his secretary. Both are drafting a tentative new teaching timetable for the school, given that the institution could operate in 2 shifts beginning this academic year. With a 2-shift system, the 37 hours of classes a week will be reduced to 25 hours with a 7 hours gap to complete. But school authorities say moves have been taken at the level of the ministry to see how the gap can be complemented.
They have told us of a structure that will propose online lessons. We are waiting for the project to be finalized.
The same system will hold too for primary schools with a heavy enrollment, but those with less than 50 per class will not observe the 2 shifts.
At no point in time do we have more than 30 children playing outside at the same time. So we've made modifications that they go out, they take turns to go out for break.
School authorities say the new system will come with challenges of staff and infrastructure that will certainly be overcome only in the course of the school year.
The new system of education recommended warrants that additional infrastructure be provided to accommodate all learners this school year. While new classrooms may need to be constructed, teachers will also be obliged to put in extra hours to dispense lessons in order to cover the teaching syllabus. How do school authorities intend to manage and change the spur teachers to work as much as 22 hours a week? Cynthia Saptola has been finding out.
Officially, teachers in public schools put in 18 hours of lessons per week. With the new structural changes imposed by the pandemic, school authorities say the schedule of teachers will also be affected.
We have spread the school in two parts. We don't have enough classes. What we are going to do, that teachers that are going to teach in the morning are the same that are going to teach in the evening.
At the government bilingual high school Ikunu, for example, the administrative staff say some teachers may have to put in 12 hours, while others 22 hours per week, depending on the subject. To handle the situation, hiring new staff has been envisaged.
We have a choice, whether giving Anglophone teacher a lot of work, but when you have 30 hours, what is your input? We think that the real solution is to recruit part-time teachers to enable school to run smoothly.
With sector conferences currently ongoing, school authorities will be addressing issues like these, especially what impact it may have on pay packages. While those in the private sector confirm they admit 50 per class so as not to overwhelm the teachers on their payroll.
In scene 2 of our series on the value of bamboo, we focus on its use in the packaging of cosmetic products. Due to its eco-friendly qualities, bamboo is equally used in the formulation of cosmetic products like lipsticks and makeup, as it is established that the plant is nourishing to the skin. Iwane Pole reports on the organic and beauty prowess of bamboo.
The use of bamboo is increasing within the cosmetics and personal care industry in Cameroon, both within packaging and as an actual ingredient in cosmetics.
At first, we're buying soap made from bamboo produced in France at a cost of 35,000 francs. But today in Cameroon, the same soap made in Cameroon from bamboo is cheaper and has good natural quality.
According to experts in the product's launch analytics, the number of new cosmetics products bearing the term bamboo in this sector has increased.
Cosmetic products made from bamboo helps to boost the economy and our livelihood.
Analysts say due to the value of bamboo, some of the new products in the category are attributed to bamboo being used as a shade or as part of the product branding rather than being presented as an ingredient or in packaging.
We'll now take you to Parliament, where 100 personnel of the National Assembly are being drilled on parliamentary diplomacy, administrative writing and protocol. This is in the course of the third phase of the annual capacity building program designed by the Clerk of the House, Gaston Komba. Meanwhile, the Finance and Budget Committee of the National Assembly reviewed the components of public financing with officials of the Ministry of Finance. Details in this report.
Skilled to conduct efficient dialogue with regard to key international issues amongst parliaments and empowered on the role of protocol and the tenets of administrative writing, the personnel of the National Assembly benefits from the expertise of officials of the Ministry of External Relations. The lawmaking institution is expected to be a reference in the filing, processing, encoding and archiving of files.
We have to improve the capacity of our staff so that in a friendship group and also in an international parliamentary organization, we can be improved. If there is a problem in protocol, we cannot say that the ceremony is well done or well organized.
Meantime, the Finance and Budget Committee, gearing towards examining the settlement bill of the 2019 financial year and the draft 2021 state budgets to be tabled during the third ordinary session of the 2020 legislative year, exchanged with members of the Advanced Program of Specialization in Public Finance. The goal is to ensure effective control and transparency in the management of public funds for an emerging economy.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
One of the services that has been badly hit by the coronavirus pandemic is that offered in the health sector. Due to the scare of being infected, many inhabitants have opted for self-medication and alternative solutions to their health problems. This drop in consultations has pushed health officials to continue reassuring that hospitals are free from the coronavirus. Baldwin Summer talks about this worrying phenomenon with his guest, Dr. Frank Amabo, at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Esther Kima, and welcome. It is an attitude that health professionals in Cameroon are looking forward to discourage on the part of most Cameroonians. This attitude where they are scared of visiting most hospitals because they don't want to get infected with the coronavirus. What they fail to understand is the fact that these hospitals are COVID-19 free. That is exactly what we shall be discussing tonight with our guest, Dr. Frank Amabo, who is an epidemiologist. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening.
What have we noticed so far as some major changes as the way hospitals function during this COVID-19 period?
Thank you, Baldwin. I would like to say that what you're bringing up is a very personal issue, and it is my role as a public health professional to give out the facts. The fact of the matter is health facilities have put in place several measures to be able to manage health services during the COVID. I'm going to talk about 5 of them. First of all, they have mostly set up triaging systems which help them to segregate at the entry points between potential cases, COVID cases, and other persons. Second of all, if you visit health facilities, you can see that hand washing posts, have been put around most of the health facility. Thirdly, we have the health authorities that insist on the wearing of masks when you come, be it for patients or staff, when coming to health facilities. The fourth thing is that in most of our health facilities, we have a site that has been identified for the isolation of any potential COVID-19 case. And all of this is being coordinated by an infection and prevention committee that has been revamped in all, if not most, of the health facilities in Cameroon.
Doctor, as an epidemiologist, tell us, what do Cameroonians need to know during this particular period as far as visiting the different hospitals is concerned?
So, overall, and listening to the points I've edicted, which are put in place in most of health facilities, I want to ensure and tell the public that they can visit health facilities. Health facilities have put in place measures to make sure that any potential infection of COVID is managed apart such that essential services can continue. So they can visit the health facilities, they shall be welcome, they shall be managed with the same professionalism that characterizes our healthcare professionals.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank Amabo. You are an epidemiologist for being this evening. The message has been so clear. Don't get scared of visiting the different hospitals in the 10 different regions of the country. Scared because you will get infected with the coronavirus. Health officials in the country have put in place measures in these different hospitals to avoid any possible infection or contamination. These hospitals are COVID-19 free. Make sure you continue your regular visits to the different hospitals. Back to you, Esther Kima.
Thanks very much, Baldwin Summer, for reassuring us that hospitals are meant to cure the sick and not to get them infected. And so the population needs to believe in these medical practitioners to bar the way to the coronavirus in the country. Now on to a sad note. Major General Simon-Pierre Dagafunangsu is no more. He died today at the age of 76 at the military hospital in Yaoundé after an illness. The seasoned soldier, who was in the 2nd section of the Cameroon military, is remembered for his rigor and assiduity in service. Kilian Dandifon tells us more.
As the biological family wailed in shock and consternation, the professional family, in reference, questioned why he has left them now. He was of the first batch of EMIA graduates from 1961 to 1963 and did further military training in France. Born around 1944 in Poust, Mayo-Danai division of the Far North region, Major General Simon-Pierre Dagafunangsu served in different top military positions, the last active being the commander of the 1st Gendarmerie region before retiring to the 2nd section of the military. His demise is a combination of clinical and psychological shocks.
He's a diabetic patient, and he had tension because that he has prostate cancer, and he also had a stroke about 4 or 5 years ago.
The death of my mother weakened him, and many people thought he was going to follow her immediately, but he has lived again for 2 years.
The late general had 3 children. Marguerite Blanche, épouse Salah's 2 brothers, had passed on before their mother followed 2 years ago.
May the soul of the fallen soldier rest in peace. On to sports. The Intermediate Lions of Cameroon, who've ended their 2-week camp, have provided details of their training to the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Molekombi. The sports boss was at the CAF Excellence Center in Bankomo, where he enjoined the players to be committed in the quest to grab the trophy in the 2021 African Nations Championship. Daniel Ekonde has the details.
Post-lockdown and the supervision race is on. In a center under government scrutiny, at least stops in various areas are warranted. Then the real business begins. Minister Narcisse Molekombi instilling confidence in the Intermediate Lions. Pride representing the nation and professionalism, he reiterated, should be their guide. Because the President of the Republic is keen on the team succeeding.
We know we need the best player for the best players. So we need all the best for the national team.
I know about the competition very well. So I think what the minister was saying, it was just like to put us a little bit of pressure. And let me say motivation and words of motivation.
They will fall back to training this Sunday. But for now, at least there are 4 days of rest.
That ends this edition of the 7:30 News, in which you heard that the foundation stone of the Bolova branch of the Bank of Central African States, BEAC, has been laid by Prime Minister Joseph John Good. It is an initiative that will reinforce regional integration. And with that, we end this edition of the 7:30 News. More news comes up at 8:30 p.m. with Romeo Chuse. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. for another edition of the newscast, God willing. Stay tuned to our programs on the CRTV. Thanks for watching. It was my pleasure serving you. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing